Welcome to the Sportsman's Voice Roundup, your weekly look at conservation and sporting community news happening across the nation and on the Hill. Thanks for tuning in. This is the TSV Roundup. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to this week's edition of the Sportsman's Voice Roundup, your weekly look at conservation news from across the nation for the week of August 10th, 2026. Got a few headlines here for you, and we'll get to those right now before we say hi to Chris Horton, who is with us for this week's lead story on some final things out there in DC, several CSF fishing priorities that are still at play when Congress does return. But before we do that, let's hit these headlines, do some general housekeeping, and then we'll welcome Chris in. Fun announcement here at CSF. We welcomed in a new coordinator in the Rocky Mountain states. We say welcome to Sophia Mollett, who has joined the team, brings an extensive amount of experience at the state level, agency level, and a great background. So those of you that get to work with Sophia, look forward to that. And we're just happy to have her and her talents on the team to continue doing what we do so well. Here's a little controversy, and not necessarily finality, but some of you folks who maybe like a little rage bait for you. The report on the Washington Fish and Wildlife Commission investigation was released on the 31st of last month. The final report of an independent investigation into the conduct and the certain Washington Fish and Wildlife Commission members was released. The investigation examined allegations spanning 5 categories: compliance with the Public Records Act, the Open Public Meetings Act, the Commissioner's rules for procedure, alleged mistreatment of staff there at the agency, and retaliation and improper timekeeping and compensation practices. I won't give you the whole thing here. I'll let you go to the website and read Marie's article, but important highlights here. The investigation was ordered by Governor Bob Ferguson. It's sustained in part concerning regards for undisclosed communications with advocacy organizations and continued use of personal devices for commission business after agency devices were provided. And obviously we have a role in this and remain committed to supporting transparent science-based fish and wildlife management across the West and maintaining the North American model of wildlife conservation. Marie is doing good work, and go check out her reporting on that. That's a hot topic right now. Heads up in Louisiana, Black Bear Lottery opens with new privacy protections in place. We reported on that from Mark Lance, both of those actually. So this is season 3 of the Black Bear hunt there in Louisiana. Go to that article, check it out. I think he might have added some quota numbers there, how many licenses will be allocated, and with those new protections that were passed this year from bear hunters and lottery entries being doxxed, that's not going to be a thing in Louisiana anymore. And a lot of that was driven by Mark's good work. So you can check that out. CSF priorities remain in play as the Farm Bill faces challenges in the Senate. Ken Keene brings you that. If you're interested in banging your head against the wall, read that article. Dedicated conservation funding, hunting for a solution by fishing in new streams. And finally, the New Hampshire Governor, Kelly Ayotte, also a member of the Governor Sportsman's Caucus, signed a wildlife corridors bill into law here in New Hampshire. Most people hear that and think of the West. While true, those items, those strategies are still very necessary and important east of the Mississippi as wildlife continues to migrate and move around, needs that habitat connectivity. You can check that article out as well. General housekeeping here, folks. We are running our Pop for Conservation fundraiser once again this year. So you can go to Pop, the number 4 Conservation. You can check out the raffle there, get involved. A great number of prizes, just like the last couple of years. That's Pop for Conservation, Pop for the number 4 Conservation. Get your entries in now. Also, tip of the cap, going to be heading down to Rhode Island later this week to meet with newly minted Hall of Famer Adam Vinatieri, kicker for my New England Patriots, and then he went over to Indianapolis and did some things. But more importantly, Hall of Famer New England Patriot Adam Vinatieri, who is a great supporter of CSF, and his Clays for Charity will be showing and highlighting that support later this week. And we're just proud and happy to have that opportunity to get down there with Adam, the Hall of Fame kicker. And finally, there is an opportunity to join us here in the Northeast, folks. We have an open position. We'd like to make an announcement just like Sophia's in the future, adding new talent with someone that is passionate about hunting, fishing, trapping, and policy driven. We do have a very unique and awesome opportunity. These don't come along very often. So go to the website, congressionalsportsman.org, congressionalsportsman.org. If you're one of those few who can qualify, hit the link, send your application in. We'll review it and look forward to bringing new talent on. Don't forget, folks, hit the follow, subscribe buttons wherever you're listening to us. Those, as we always say at the end of the show, they matter. Those follows and subscriptions helps us play in the algorithm, gets pushed out to a new audience, and they get to hear what you guys are fond of every week. All right, that's it. We wrapped all that up. Let us now welcome in Chris Horton, who's going to catch us up on all the, we're close on quite a few of these things, and the frustration is, we're in a recess in the down there, and if you watch the news, you're probably well aware. It has nothing to do with what we're doing, but unfortunately, we're the victims of some of this ballyhooing. Chris, welcome to the show. What do we got going on?
Hey, Fred. Thanks for having me back. Yeah, I mean, August recess is always kind of marks the you're getting close to the finish line for a session of Congress, but it also provides an opportunity to sort of reset and to work through some challenges for some legislation when you're not quite there yet on the language, and we've got one of those bills there now, but we've got a couple of bills that are just teed up perfectly. We're very confident they're going to get across the finish line because most of them just have one more step. And the first one I want to talk about is the Shark Act. We're so close there. The House introduced that bill early in this Congress and passed it out of the House pretty quickly. The Senate's been a little bit slower, but finally we got it out of Senate committee. So the options are to potentially hotline the House version, which means they would just put it up for basically unanimous consent, and as long as there was no hold put on it, or there's always holds put on, but you get those holds lifted and then it passes. And but if the Senate runs the Senate version that's in committee, because there's some differences that probably have to go back to the House, and we probably just wouldn't have enough time. So but hopefully the procedural part will work out so we can pass this with one more vote. And if you recall, I believe it was last year, we had Martha Gaius of ASA join us and did a deep dive on the Shark Act and why we need that. And really the Shark Act is, all it does is put together a task force that's congressionally authorized task force to look at this challenge we have with shark depredation. It's getting harder and harder to land fish because sharks are eating them before you can get them over the gunnel. And we don't know if it's a behavioral change for some sharks or what's going on, but it's certainly the incidence of depredation is increasing. So we really need to take a hard look at, what are there deterrents out there? Are there certain species that are causing more problems than others? And to develop a list of recommendations that NOAA can implement, or maybe even Congress implements to help solve the problem. So anyway, the Shark Act, very important for marine recreational anglers, and it's very, very close, and I'm pretty confident we're going to see it pass. And another one that's kind of in the same vein is the MAPOceans Act. So this is kind of similar to the MAP Lands Act on land that passed Congress several years ago that required all these different federal agencies that collect mapping information and offer that mapping information in different formats to get consistent on how they're doing it, and to be able to provide a one-stop shop essentially for the public, for marine electronics manufacturers or GPS manufacturers, to be able to get that data on fairly frequent basis and update it so that you always know where you are. And the last map waters passed at the end of last year, which was the freshwater side. So Department of Interior with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, U.S. Forest Service, Bureau of Reclamation, all these federal agencies that manage freshwater systems. Basically, it's going to get them all on the same page and how they digitize and standardize the way they present that information. The last one is to do that with NOAA, which NOAA manages federal waters off our coastline, and that's from 3 miles to 220 miles offshore. So that's a big chunk of water there that is under federal management. And the thing about the waters that NOAA manages is that there's all kinds of different regulations. There's seasonal spawning closures where you can't fish. There's areas where you can only fish with certain gear at certain times of the year, and there's just so many different regulations. It can be intimidating for somebody that's going out there for the first time. We want all that information where it's easily available, and ideally can just go right to your chart plotter in your boat so that you know where you are, what you can do at all times. So again, that bill has it passed the Senate unanimously. It has passed the House committee unanimously. We're just waiting on time on the floor for floor consideration. So I figured this is going to be one of those that when they have a package of bills that they need to pass, and they can pass under unanimous consent or a voice vote, they will add that to that package, hopefully. So, but anyway, we got 2 fisheries priorities that I think we'll see the finish line. There's obviously a number of other bills that we're working on that are in various stages. Some of them are in good shape, but they're also attached to a larger vehicle like the Sport Fish Restoration Boating Trust Fund reauthorization, which has to be reauthorized every 5 years. We've talked about that on this podcast a number of times, but it's always a bipartisan bill, strongly supported by the fishing industry that has to pay the tax, as well as the angling community in the states. It is, though, because of a marine fuel tax component that was added in 1990 or 1984 in the Wallet-Brough Amendment. It's associated with, or it's tied to the Surface Transportation Bill, or commonly known as the Highway Bill, which, even though the House has got their version out, the Senate's still working on theirs. So a bill that large, you really need to be a lot further along in the process. So what will probably happen is it'll be punted to the next Congress through a continuing resolution, which is, if that happens, Sport Fish Restoration and Boating Trust Fund is fine. It'll just continue as all the other highway bills do, and the states will still be able to receive those funds for fisheries conservation. But when Congress does finally pass the highway bill, we're in good shape with a solid bill that we will be able to get over the finish line. But probably my baby, because I fish there so much in the Gulf, is the Rigs to Reefs bill. Even though we haven't gotten it out of a single committee yet, it's one of those bills where there's a lot of interest on both sides of the aisle to be able to save that marine habitat. Some of the challenges has just been getting some of the oil and gas companies on the same page with what the actual decommissioning structure looks like. And so we are in negotiations right now with various parties within the oil and gas industry, and to try to get to a point that we can all agree on. And that's where this August recess, I think, is really going to be helpful for that, because we can come out with language that everybody agrees with. We've already got a commitment from certainly leadership in the House or the committee leadership that they want to move that bill. And then we also have a lot of interest over in the Senate side, but they're kind of waiting to see how the House plays out. But if we get the language right where everybody's good with it, then I think we got a really good chance on that side as well. But anyway, that's kind of, and again, there are a number of other bills that we're working on at various stages. And with Congress, especially when you get to lame duck session, man, you never know what's going to happen. So there's a chance we can get other bills passed too. But the good thing is that usually the issues that hunters and anglers care about, the conservation related issues, they're usually bipartisan, and they usually can find their way across the finish line in the very last hours of Congress easier than many other bills can. So if we can just get them teed up, get them there where they can pick from a menu, hopefully we can get some more of these passed.
Yeah, no doubt. If it has shades of like, and it's setting up to be like was it the last term, the last year on the term of the Biden administration, we were able to get a few um, priorities to the president's desk, and that came up with like 20 some odd percent of the bills that actually got signed. And again, if people are watching the news for the last 18 months, not a lot of bills are getting signed. One big one that we covered, big beautiful bill, but a lot of EOs getting signed. Where if Chris's reporting is accurate and what he feels, and we trust him that we can get a couple over the finish line, that bodes well for conservation, the conservation community, and Chris's good work and our partnerships to get those important bills to the president's desk. And I guess it would probably compromise quite a bit of a percentage of bills that are actually getting signed, which is pretty incredible.
Yeah, unfortunately, over the last few decades, the number of bills that Congress actually sign that make it to the president's desk has steadily been declining because our Congress struggles to get things passed. But hey, that's why we're out here working to remind them that these are important to their constituents out there. It's important to the hunting and fishing community, and we just have to keep reminding them and keep it front and center so that when opportunities do arise, then we have the chance to move something. So.
In truly bipartisan fashion, and these are easy wins for legislators on the Hill, and as we always say, at the state level too. So the the need for the partisanship and the default mechanism of just voting along party lines, you can relieve yourselves of that with our issues. I promise you, no one's going to be mad at you on either side. These are easy wins for you. So stack them like cordwood. We'd appreciate it.
Absolutely.
All right, Chris. Well, it's good to see you. Thanks so much. Not much left of this summer. We got a lot of cool travel coming up, fundraising events. This is our travel part of the year for CSF outside of our states, and meeting with a lot of our partners and legislators that come in for it. So I'm looking forward to seeing you out at many of those. And see you down the line, Chris.
Yeah, man, looking forward to it. And just want to remind everybody that I know hunting seasons are coming up, and I'm a hunter as well. But man, some of the best fishing, certainly on the marine side, is in freshwater too, is just ahead. When it gets cooler, there's not a lot of pressure out there. Everybody's hunting or back in school and doing sports activities, going to football games. But man, the fishing really kind of heats up in the fall, and you've got it all by yourself. So
yeah, no doubt. I will say anecdotally, went out the other night with my son and a friend. Here in the New Hampshire waters, going out to the Atlantic and marking stripers like crazy. I mean, the striper migration. My son was surfing on one of our coastal beaches and was surfing with stripers. Like they were, awesome. Yeah. And he said, I reached out, grabbed one by the tail. He's like, they were big cows, and he's all fired up. The night before, like I said, we were out. The squid run was incredible. Like we were just boating squid like nobody's business, and that's just good fun. They put up a good fight, and they're good table fare, and they're good striper candy. So yeah, you're exactly right. Like fish are moving. It's a good time to be on the water.
Yeah, it's a tough life to be a squid because everything will eat you. Everything.
Yep, and they fight like it too. They know it.
Yeah.
All right, man. Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
All right, brother. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks for joining us on this edition of the Sportsman's Voice podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, your support is crucial, and you can help us out right now by leaving a review, filling in those 5 stars where available, sharing this episode with friends and family, and engaging with us socially. CSF can be found on Facebook, Instagram, and X, formerly known as Twitter. Together, we can protect the outdoor sports we love and continue to keep you informed wherever you are. That's it for this week. Until next time, we'll see you later.